Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a like up. Today on The Young and the Restless, Jill breaks bad news to Billy and Lily, Abby and Devin get hitched, and Sharon spirals after running Phyllis off the road. All products and services featured are independently chosen by editors. However, soaps.com may receive a commission on orders placed through its retail links, and the retailer may receive certain auditable data for accounting purposes. At the ranch, Abby says her personal vows to Devin. She recalls how he was always there for her, and then helped her become a mom. She's so lucky to share this life with him. Falling in love with him felt like coming home. Devin tells her there's a reason he wanted to marry her on her birthday. Aside from the day their son was born, this is the most important day in his life. The day his best friend was born. She's never left his corner. He wonders if they both knew how they felt about each other all along. You are my absolute everything, pretty lady. Dom brings the rings, and Abby and Devin place them on each other's fingers. Abby and Devin exchange, I doze, and the officiant pronounces them husband and wife. The newlyweds kiss, and everyone applauds, until a loud noise from outside stops everyone in their tracks. Nick frowns and heads to the door. Outside, Phyllis is unconscious in her car, which has hit a tree and is on fire. Elsewhere, Sharon is unconscious in her car with her head leaning on the steering wheel. In the ranch house, Nick sees a glow. Victor gets on the phone to call for help. As Summer says it sounded like a car crash. She tells her father she'll have Chance meet him over there as he heads out the door. Nikki tells the guest that everything is being handled, and they'll get an update soon. She introduces them to Mr. and Mrs. Winters, and everyone claps. Victor looks out the door with concern. In her car, Sharon begins to come to and slowly raises her head. She looks out her window. In her car, Phyllis remains unconscious as the flames burn around her. In the ranch house, Abby and Devin chat with Victoria and Anna, who assure them everything about their wedding was perfect. Abby's gorgeous and they're madly in love. Devin is thrilled to be in a room with everyone they love. Victoria takes Anna to go say goodnight to Dom. Summer joins the happy couple, and they gush about Victor making the night special for them. Summer goes off to get them more champagne. Meanwhile, Ashley and Tracy watch Diane walking around with a glass of bubbly. Ashley wonders what that bitch is doing there. Jack approaches Diane and asks what she's doing at a family wedding, a family that she's no longer a part of. Diane says her name was on the invitation alongside his. Jack bickers with her about it until Kyle walks up and calls her Diane. She gawps, "What? I'm not even your mother anymore." Kyle says she came back to town for a company and money, not him. He doesn't have a mother, she died. Jack tells her to leave right now. Diane tipped her glass in Victor's direction, and he tips his back. Outside, Sharon tries to start the car, but it won't go. She mutters about her phone and then gets out of the vehicle. Suddenly, she notices the flames across the way. Nick and Chance arrive at Phyllis' car and call out to her while trying to open the locked car doors. She remains unconscious as the fire burns all around. In the ranch house, Harmony tells Abby her vows touched her heart. Devin's found his true partner, and she's so pleased for him. Ashley agrees. She couldn't want more for her daughter. Talk turns to Tucker. Abby says her dad wouldn't let him near the place, and Devin notes he hasn't reached out in months. Fine by me. Nearby, Nikki tells Jack to say the word, and she'll have Diane thrown out. Jack says she'd like nothing better than to play the victim. He moans that he should have seen this coming. He's getting what he deserves. Nikki says wishing you could go back in time and change things is a special kind of misery. Jack quips, "Are we talking about you and Victor now?" Nikki's not amused. Across the room, Victor approaches Diane, who complains about him ratting her out to Kyle. He says he did it because he didn't trust her. She asks if he does now. He tells her Glissade is hers, if she still wants it. Diane says of course she does. Victor muses. On second thought, there's a little price to pay. The catch is, she has to be the one to fire Kyle. Diane guesses he doesn't think she has the nerve. Victor tells her she only has tonight. The offer will be rescinded in the morning. Take it or leave it. Nearby, Billy wants his mother to tell him what's going on. At Phyllis's car, Chance and Nick are unable to get in to save Phyllis. Nick balls up his jacket and punches the window out. They open the door and pull her out and carry her safely away from the flames. Nick asks if she can hear him. She doesn't respond. He begs her to open her eyes and look at him. Back in the ranch house, Lily, Devin, and Abby talk to a tipsy Esther before moving on to chat with Nate and Audra. Audra admires Abby's dress and says it almost makes her understand why people bother to get married. Abby asks what is it she doesn't like, the commitment or having to put someone's needs above her own. Audra thinks it's an outdated institution and a crock. How many divorces are in this room? Lily thinks love is rare and should be celebrated. Anyone who doesn't think that should keep it to themselves. Nate and Audra walk off and Lily mutters, "Is she for real?" Nearby, Jill tells Billy it's over, and it's out of her hands. Victor approaches and tells Billy that Chancellor once again belongs to him. Billy asks his mother to tell him that she didn't hand the company to this maniac. Jill pulls Billy away and says he's not ready. She doesn't see it happening. Victor will see Catherine's legacy through to the future and hers too. "I'm sorry, Billy. I have no choice." Billy pulls her close and says, "You do have a choice. And if you follow through with this, there's no coming back." Victoria calls out to Billy as she walks out the door. She asks him what happened. He'll only say, "You tell your father, this isn't over." Inside the house, Mariah tells Tessa they should have heard from Nick by now. She worries the fire could be spreading to her mom's house. Sharon's not responding on her phone. Something's not right. I can feel it. Outside, Sharon watches, unseen, as Nick desperately tries to revive Phyllis. Her eyes widen, and she whispers, "My God, what have I done?" In the ranch, Summer takes a call from Nick, who asks if she's away from the other guests. Summer moves and says she is now. Nick tells her that her mother was in an accident and is on her way to the hospital. She asks if she is okay. Nick says they both know she's tough. She'll get through this. Summer exhales and says she's heading to the hospital. Nick asks her to call Daniel and have him go with her. He'll meet her at Memorial. Summer asks, "Dad, Mom's going to be okay, isn't she?" Nick pauses before saying, "Yeah, always. I'll see you there." After disconnecting, Nick rejoins Chance, who tells him there are 2 sets of tire marks. It looks like somebody veered into Phyllis Lane. Nick rages about them just leaving her there. What kind of sick person does something like this? Sharon lets herself into her house, calls out for Faith, and when she gets no answer, she sits and screams into a throw pillow. Hallucination, Nick appears and tells her things have gone too far. She has to deal with this. Phyllis' car is totaled. She's hurt and unconscious. Sharon hollers that she'll be okay. Hallucination, Nick asks her how much more damage she'll do to hide her secret. At the ranch, Victor gets an update from Nick. He tells Nikki that Phyllis was in a bad accident and has gone to the hospital. They must keep it from the other guests, so as not to mar Devin and Abby's special day. They make their way back to the gathering and Victor makes a toast to the newlyweds. "May you live happily ever after." Abby and Devin kiss. At Sharon's place, she doesn't want to hear this. Hallucination, Nick says he's on her side. Always. She hopes so. He says Phyllis could die. She may already be gone. First Heather, now Phyllis. Now Daniel's the victim. You lost Heather and could lose his mother. I know you don't want that for him. Sharon hollers at him to stop acting like it's all her fault. She spots her phone and notes, "That's where I left it." Nick asks if that's what matters to her now, her phone. Sharon doesn't remember leaving it there. She doesn't remember the crash. Nick says she's having blackouts because she can't handle this. Ann knows she's terrified because Phyllis is relentless, and she should be. She could take it all away. Sharon asks, "What if it was me? I wanted to shut Phyllis up for good. What if I did it? What if I killed Phyllis too?" At the ranch, Victoria corners Victor and asks why Billy stormed out of there. She says, "Clearly you got what you wanted." Victor reminds her, this is Abby and Devin's evening. They won't discuss business tonight. He kisses her cheek and walks off. Cole joins her and says, "Do I even need to ask?" Lily finds Jill and asks if she's seen Billy. Jill says, "Briefly." Lily sits with her and says he told her to convince her that her return to Chancellor is sincere. Jill says it doesn't matter. "I am selling Chancellor to Victor. It is over." Lily gawps, "You can't be serious." She told her she had faith in her. Jill does. Lily tells her she can't just give up like this. Jill wanted to lead Chancellor to an even greater future. Lily doesn't understand. Jill says she has no choice. "My own body is betraying me." Lily is there for her and will support her, whatever she needs. Jill says if she's going to walk away stress-free, she needs a clean break. Lily says it can't end like this. They can come up with a plan. Jill doesn't have the luxury of time. She needs her to understand because Billy won't. She thinks Lily should be at Winter's and asks her to let it go. Let me have some peace. Victoria and Cole approach Claire and Kyle. Victoria asks her daughter how she enjoyed her first Newman wedding. Claire thought it was lovely. Diane interrupts. I need a word with my son. She tells him, it's important, Kyle. Outside, Chance disconnects from the hospital and updates Nick, telling him Phyllis is still unconscious. Nick says he has to get to Memorial. Chance asks him to tell Summer he'll be there as soon as he can. Nick fumes. If somebody did this to Phyllis on purpose. His phone rings and he answers. It's Sharon. He tells her he has to call her back. There's been an accident. Sharon screams. Nick. It's Phyllis Oak. Nick, stunned, asks, Sharon, how did you know Phyllis was involved? In the ranch house, Ashley asks if Jack wants to save Kyle from Cruella DeVille. Jack says give it a minute. Kyle has to learn how to handle Diane, who's not going anywhere. Across the room, Kyle tells his mother they can talk tomorrow. She snaps. It's imperative we speak now. She stalks off. Kyle tells Victoria, Cole, and Claire this is what she does. She relies on other people's good manners to get what she wants. Victoria says they're used to her tactics. Claire assures Kyle it's okay. Kyle joins his mother in the foyer as the others watch. Diane tells him, I have taken control of Glissade, and as of this moment you are officially out. At Sharon's place, she pleads with Nick over the phone to tell her that Phyllis is alright. Nick says the EMTs took her to the hospital, and she was unconscious. Sharon hollers, tell the doctors she has to wake up. Nick asks, were you involved in this? Sharon cries, Nick, I'm so scared. Nick shakily asks, what are you saying? A woman in a black coat opens a motel room door and goes inside. It's Aunt Jordan. She tells someone in the room, it's done. Exactly according to plan. The other person, Ian Ward, replies, how wonderful. Next on The Young and the Restless, Victor makes an impressive addition to his empire. Jack and Diane are busted, and Sharon is backed into a corner.